We are going to have to see our families. We are going to have to see our friends. We are going to have to see people who view reality in a different way than what we do. So let us first talk about reality. And what is reality? Hello, 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 hello. Good morning and welcome. Woo. My name is Ali Cara. This is Unleash Your Light. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. Like I said, we're going to talk about reality. So the one thing is, in the spiritual community, people talk about how we're creating reality, we're manifesting reality, blah, 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 right? But also, I have spoken many, many times about the Google bubble and about the bubble that we create through our perceptions and through our preconceived notions of what reality actually is. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. So let us first talk about reality. And what is reality? Okay? Because if you are in the spiritual community, you'll hear a lot of people saying it's all an illusion, nothing really exists, the world is run by reptiles and they're keeping us in slavery. You'll hear that all of that is fake. You'll hear a lot of conspiracy theories or conspiracy facts, depending on how you look at them. And you will hear that you create your own reality. So if your world is horrible, it has to do with the fact that you are creating all of this stuff. There is, if we think about Schrodinger's box, for those of you who know what that is, it was really made popular and like people know what it is from Big Bang Theory. So Schrodinger's box is kind of the theory that you have a box that is sealed and they tell you that there is a cat in the box. Is the cat alive or dead? You're not allowed to look at which one it is. And therefore, the theory is that he is both things at the same time because he's in a box and nobody knows the answer. Now, I have always kind of pushed back against this theory because I believe there is an answer, but it is our perception that he is both at the same time because we don't know the answer one way or the other. And you can have two people looking at the box with two completely separate ideas of whether that cat is alive or whether that cat is dead. I know maybe it's insensitive for me to talk about dead cats with my own cats running around here, isn't it? Oh my. Yes, it is. There is a fixed truth, but it is our perception of that truth that changes. And that's one of the quantum mechanics, quantum physics things is that anything that exists is changed by the perceiver. That our perception actually changes what that thing is, changes it. Does it change it for everyone? No, it changes it for us, for the perceiver. And this is why two people can look at that cat in a box and one believe it's dead and one believe it's alive, and both can believe they're right. Now, that's a simplistic and yet weird way to kind of start this conversation about the slippery slope of reality. Okay. Hi, Stephanie Lynn. So if we're talking about reality in the real world, out there in the 3D world, there is obviously a fixed truth. And the perception of it, I'm glad you caught me live too, Stephanie. The perception of that fixed truth is determined by the person viewing it. So let's move that to our personal lives. Let's move that to our personal lives and see where we can find that sort of a situation in our own life, in what we do every day, in our family life. And how do we then look at these people who have a different perception of reality than us? And what is our own responsibility in that space? And just to bring this back into a realm that's not too terribly emotional personally to people, we can look at this space of the impeachment, okay? And one of the arguments that was thrown by Republicans a lot and completely understandable is This is a completely partisan thing. And nobody on your side is willing to look at the fact that this is partisan and unfair. Okay, fair point. But when you are saying that to the other party, you are also participating in that partisanship, in that closed-minded space where you are viewing reality. Thank you, Krista. Where you are viewing reality in a different way. Just the very thing of pointing at someone else and saying, you are not listening and you won't budge on your position, usually indicates that you are not listening and won't budge on your position. Because of the duality, exactly like Kenya was saying, because of that duality. As soon as you start pointing the finger at someone else for not being open-minded, you then become one who is not open-minded. Often, what happens when both sides are doing that, and is the same thing that happened here, we repeat the same arguments over and over and over again to each other. We repeat our truths as we see them, our version of the reality, right? Which we all agree, there is a fixed reality of some sort. It is our perception that changes it for us. Okay? So both people looking at this fixed set of facts, fixed set of truths, have their own perception of it. And when each party goes into that only seeing their perception, like I said, we repeat the same arguments. We will repeat our own perception of it over and over and over again. And this is why we had, 10 days, 20 days of both sides making the exact same effing argument over and over and over again. I must have heard the speech from both Democrats and Republicans, 2,000 times. So there is a fixed set of facts, and when both people are viewing them, boom, 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 boom. We just repeat our own perceptions over and over and over again. So let's think to our own lives. Let's look at our own situations and within our families, within ourselves. We'll start a little externally within our families. If there's someone in your family that you have had some issues with, that you have this same stupid argument with over and over again, if there's someone in your family that you just cannot get them to see your point of view, and it's important, and it's keeping you from being a family, it's affecting how you get along. How open-minded are you being? Are you listening to the other side? When you come at someone with your truth, most likely they're not going to listen. Because your version of reality doesn't look the way theirs does. Your version of reality doesn't look the way their version of reality is, because they see it completely differently. You may be saying, I thought I was helping. I was trying to be the best person I could for everyone. I was trying to carry the burden with mom or with Uncle Joe or with, whoever. I was trying to do the right thing. And what the other side is seeing by that very action of, moving in with that elderly relative, she was just being greedy. He was just being greedy because he's trying to get the inheritance check. And it often doesn't matter how many times you repeat your truth to that person. They are not going to see it from your way when you come at them with your truth, because we wear it like a shield and we're ready to defend it with our sword. So where is our responsibility in a situation like that? The first thing we have to do is have empathy. The first thing we have to do is have some empathy for the fact that if the other person is upset about this, then there's a validity to what they're feeling. Even if what they're feeling is based on what you perceive as an untrue perception of the facts. Because just like Georgia was saying that you have to allow other people to have their own perception of truth to a point. But if we allowed everyone in our lives to only have their own perception, how do you come to a common ground with them? How do you get to a point where you're able to get along with them? So we start with the empathy, because if they've dug in their heels that deep in their version of reality, that means it's probably rooted pretty deep in something for them that's painful. Why else would they turn on you? Why else would they hurt you? It's never an easy thing to recognize that the person that you've been feuding with in the family for the last 20 years might have a point through the way that they see things, right? Two people can be looking at the color yellow. If one of them is wearing red tinted glasses, they're going to see it as orange. And if one of them is wearing blue tinted glasses, they're going to see it as green. And neither one of them is seeing it as yellow. So how do you get this back to yellow? First, you have to recognize that obviously they're seeing things completely different. And banging them over the head with your red glasses is not going to change them seeing that as green. But what does change it is maybe you could take a moment to step into their blue glasses and try to recognize it from their point of view and have a conversation with them about that. Have a conversation with them about their perception of that. Agree with it. Yes, because you can agree to disagree if you're willing to see that the other person is valid in trying and is valid in believing that is their perception. So you can step over and put on their blue glasses for just a few moments and look at that yellow box and be like, you're right. From this side, it really does look blue. Hi, Cindy, welcome. It really does look like a green box. Huh. Well, that's weird. Now, what happens when you do that? Are you giving in? No. You're finding commonalities. That's okay, Cindy. You're finding commonalities with that person. When you're able to discuss with them that I see it as green and discuss with them their blue glasses, you can start to figure out, why did they put on blue glasses in the first place? Why are they so stuck in wanting to wear those glasses without taking them off and seeing it as yellow? And by recognizing their stubbornness or their closed-mindedness or whatever, however they're seeing it, you will recognize in yourself your own unwillingness to take off your red glasses so that the box doesn't look orange anymore. When each of you takes off your individual perceptions, you will see the box as yellow. And that is the fact. There is a box. It is a color. Our perception of that color is changed by the glasses that we're wearing. And when you can put on the other person's glasses, even for a few moments, you get to step into their perception and see why it looks like that. So let's dig into that next section, because as you're seeing why they chose to put on those blue glasses, now we look at ourselves and say, so then why am I wearing these red glasses and getting so angry at this person for 20 years that I am determined to continue to wear these red glasses rather than be connected to that person? So here's the slippery thing with reality. The universe is very tricksy, to borrow a word from Lord of the Rings. The universe is very tricksy. And so when we start to perceive reality through a particular lens, through your red glasses, let's say that your red glasses are turning everything a shade of orangey, a shade of brown, a shade of whatever. Everything you see starts to be those shades. And you don't get greens, you don't get blues, you don't get yellows anymore. You're only seeing those shades that are viewed through red. So if we are perceiving the world through an emotion like depression or sadness or self-hatred or self-loathing or low self-confidence, if we are perceiving the world through those colored glasses, then everything that we see in the world looks like what we believe is true. Everything we see in the world will support, I am a loser. Nobody will love me. I'll never have money. I'll never succeed. I won't have anything in my life. I don't deserve anything in my life. I'm not worthy of love, abundance, divine messages. If we are wearing our emotion colored glasses, our red tinted glasses, everything we see will be tinted in those shades, and we won't see the bright blues of happiness and the greens of connection and those brilliant yellows of faith. We will be stuck in our perception of the world as a dark, sad, painful place that is out to get us. And because we start to live in that space, now we are creating that as outcomes in our progression of reality, because the universe gives us exactly what we ask for. I've talked about it before on many of my shows. What you did yesterday got you to where you are now. What you're doing now gets you to where you're going tomorrow. Hi, Carla, welcome. So it doesn't take very long of wearing depression-colored glasses to start to see everything in that shade of depression, in that shade of red with the browns. And to no longer be able to see the blues and the greens and the yellows until we literally believe that those shades don't exist anymore. We will literally believe that there is nothing except pain in this reality. There is only my pain. There is only the horrible stuff going on in the world. There is only people hurting people in the world. And the more that we focus on that, the more that we see of that. Because the world is like a Google algorithm. So the thing that you respond to and the thing that you engage with is the thing that the universe will bring you over and over again because you're asking for it. Now, that's not to say that all tragedy is brought on by what we think. I'm not even getting into that. I'm not even getting into that in this show. We have discussed that many times, okay? There's soul contracts. There's things that you're doing. There's things you need to be for other people in their journey. And maybe you have to be the villain. And maybe you have to be the hero. And maybe bad things have to happen to you so someone else can go through something. And we all agreed to that prior to. That's a completely different thing. But even in that, it is our perception as we go through it. It is how we view it. Are we viewing these things through the lens of everything bad happens to me? I'm never going to move forward in my life. I'm not worthy of these gifts. There's no way I can do this. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm done. I don't want to go through this dark night of the soul. I don't want to go through this change anymore. The more that we wear those glasses, the more of the tragedy and pain and sorrow we see in the world. Now, does not seeing it, does wearing the blue glasses, which are seeing joy and happiness, does that make those facts of pain in the world, of injustice, of starving children, all of the war, does putting on the blue glasses make those go away? No, it doesn't. But it does affect what you broadcast. It does affect what you see. It does affect how you behave in the world. It does affect your next level up. It does affect your relationship with other people. It does affect your relationship with the divine that rides within every single one of you. And as each one of us takes responsibility for that within ourselves, the world does start to change. Things do start to turn around. We do start to see shifts. And sometimes things have to hit rock bottom before they go up. I think that's what we're heading for. But we, as the awakened, and those of you who are not awakened, have to not allow ourselves to be drugged down by that perception that so many hold. That we just want to leave this plane. That this world is not worth saving, that there's just evil and bad and horrible stuff in this world, and I can't even deal with it. I'm not even going to look at it. Y'all know I've done many shows where I believe that we have to face the fire. Why are you awake early if not to face the fire? if not to send that love, if not to shift your perception. And in shifting your perception, you shift the perceptions of everyone around you. Hi, Sandy, welcome. This is that slippery slope of reality. And you can choose which side you slide down by what you choose to perceive and by how you interact with those who perceive it differently. Even within ourselves, as I said, when we start to believe that we aren't worthy, the world starts to show us, nope, you're not. Because that's what we're asking for. We are believing that's reality. I'm not worthy, and the world backs it up with evidence. You're right, you're not. Even though that's not true. Because the world is not determining your perception of truth. You are. There is a fact. The fact is that we are all born pure. We are all born divine. And we all carry a piece of God, the light, Fred, it doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you're seeking it. We all carry that piece inside of us, right? Because we all carry that piece inside of us, that is a fact. How we perceive that fact is what determines our behavior. Do you believe that you're not worthy of that piece within you? Do you continue to have poor self-confidence? Do you feel guilty for not doing more? Do you feel shame for making mistakes? Do you feel like the load is too heavy and you aren't up to it? You're not worthy of it. How you perceive the fact of your own divinity affects how you move in this world. And that is where we have to be able, just like we did with our friend there wearing the blue glasses, to become the observer, to look at the other side and think, maybe I am worthy. Maybe I am smart. Maybe I am capable. If you don't believe that you carry that divine, nobody's going to change your mind. If you don't believe that you're worthy of it, the outside world can't do it. If you don't think you're worthy of love, it doesn't matter how long your spouse loves you and how hard they try to be with you. If you don't think you're worthy of their love, you're just going to sabotage the whole thing, whether you want to or not. Because it is our own perception that is creating our version, our view of reality. And it doesn't take much other than a closed mind to slip us down a slope into a false version of our own divinity, into a false perception of our place in the world. And like we said at the beginning, refusing to see the other side, no matter which side you're on, you are the same. When you point the finger of partisanship and bias, you're pointing it at yourself too. It is the willingness to compromise. It is the willingness to have empathy. It is the willingness to step into the other person's shoes. Walk a mile in their shoes and you'll know. That is what shifts this. That is what shifts this in our personal lives. That is what shifts us in the grander scheme of things on the earth. And it may seem like our little pieces, my little contribution of speaking to you guys, my little contribution of changing the way that I think, of being willing to be open-minded, of the way that I am shifting myself. Sometimes we get stuck in the thought pattern that, what's the point? It's not changing anything, but it is. How is my little thought of saying I love myself instead of saying F you to myself, how does that change the world? Because I'm connecting with the divine. And when I connect with the divine, I amplify it with my thoughts. I amplify it with my vessel. I amplify it with my actions. And I amplify it with my words. And one person in a crowd of 2 billion with a bullhorn may not seem like much, amplifying their voice. But if the 7 people that are here watching right now also have bullhorns, 6 people, also have bullhorns. Now it's a little bit louder. And now the people around you might take up the chant. And now it spreads out a little bit further than that. There used to be a commercial on TV about, I think it was like Wella Balsam shampoo. And it was like, it's so good if you tell two friends and they'll tell two friends and they'll tell two friends and so on and so on and so on. This is how this works. So while you think you're not worthy and you may think you're insignificant, you may think it's pointless to try to shift your perception changes reality. Your perception changes the energy. Your perception changes your life, changes your connection, changes what the universe brings next to you. What happens? You can also get a copy of my book. My book is actually sitting right over there. You can get a copy of my book if you go to my website, unleashyourlight.org. It is $10, $9.95 plus shipping and handling, and Virginia taxes like 7%. If you're outside the country, go to Amazon, type in Unleash Your Light, and you will see my cute little yellow book pop right up. All right, I so appreciate you guys. I love being here on Thursdays. I know I took a little time out there, but that's good. I needed a little time out. So I hope you guys will start to take off whatever colored glasses you're wearing just long enough to see that even though there are fixed facts, there are many versions of reality. And pay attention to when you start to slip into a reality that may be based on an incorrect core belief. I love you guys.